Have you ever started your workday with this pristine, perfectly organized to-do list, only to find yourself, I don't know, 3 hours later, deep in some internet rabbit hole? We've all been there, right? Why do we constantly sabotage our own goals, even when we have the absolute best intentions? Well, it turns out relying on traditional willpower is fundamentally flawed, especially in the modern workplace. It just doesn't work. So today, we're going on a really fascinating journey into hacking human nature to bypass those built-in limitations.
Welcome to The Explainer. I am so glad you're joining us for this one. In this Explainer, we're going to look at exactly how we can use behavioral science to intentionally engineer our work environments for success. Basically, instead of fighting our natural instincts and inevitably burning ourselves out, we are going to learn how to actively guide them.
All right, Section 1, the science of nudging.
Okay, so to understand why we act the way we do, we kind of have to look under the hood first, right? We need to understand how our brains actually process information day in and day out. Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman describes two entirely distinct systems of thinking that govern our choices. So, System 1, that's your fast, automatic brain. It's highly susceptible to your environment. Think of this as your inner toddler or your lizard brain. It's the part of you that just wants the donut right now, or makes you instantly check your phone the second it pings. System 2, on the other hand, is slow, it's reflective, and it's goal-oriented. This is the heavy lifting brain power you use to execute deep, meaningful work. The problem? Well, when we're stressed out or overwhelmed, our lazy System 1 just completely takes over the steering wheel.
So the big question is, how do we outsmart our own lazy wiring? Enter nudge theory. This was popularized by behavioral economist Richard Thaler and legal scholar Cass Sunstein. A nudge is essentially an adaptive design of the decision environment. They call this choice architecture. The whole goal here is to influence behavior in a predictable way, but crucially without forbidding any options or laying down strict rules. It literally just bypasses our lazy System 1 wiring to guide us toward better decisions almost automatically. Now, one of my absolute favorite examples of choice architecture in action is from the men's room at Amsterdam's Schiphol airport. I know, it sounds weird, but stay with me. They literally etched a tiny, simple image of a fly right into the center of the urinals. It just gave people a target. And this tiny, incredibly inexpensive visual cue significantly improved aim and drastically reduced cleaning costs. And they did it entirely without any signs or mandates telling people what to do. It just naturally, subtly altered human behavior.
Moving right along to Section 2, engineering your productivity. Let's take this behavioral theory out of the airport bathroom and into the practical day-to-day workplace. Consider this number for a second, 65%. In a recent experiment conducted by Slack, participants received daily digital prompts from their managers, simply reminding them to step away from their work. Just a quick reminder. But those reminders, paired with the social reinforcement of a manager actually sending them, increased the number of people taking true breaks by 65%. Just a simple digital nudge, completely changing the entire rhythm of the workday.
So how do we start applying this to our own lives? It's really all about making bad habits physically harder to do and good habits easier to execute. First up, automate your environment. Set your default app settings, like Do Not Disturb on your messaging tools whenever you're doing deep work. Second, put your phone literally out of arm's reach. You have to physically disrupt that automatic System 1 habit of grabbing it. And third, batch your similar tasks together so you aren't completely draining your cognitive battery by constantly context switching. Now, to really maximize your efficiency, you want to try setting focus timers, heavily blocking your calendar, applying the 2-minute rule for those quick, annoying little tasks, and writing tomorrow's to-do list today. Doing that gives you an immediate visual cue ready to go first thing in the morning. And we know this works. Data from Slack's Workforce Index actually shows that highly productive employees are 2.2 times more likely to set focus timers and 1.6 times more likely to block their time. These structural nudges are absolute game changers.
All right, Section 3, building workplace resilience.
Here's the thing, though. Productivity means absolutely nothing if your mental well-being is tanking. And resilience, that isn't just some innate personality trait you're either born with or you aren't. It's a deliberate habit. And the stakes here are massive. Resilient employees experience 52% less burnout and are 31% more productive. Those numbers clearly show that actively taking care of your psychological resilience isn't just some nice-to-have HR buzzword. It is literally one of the most critical professional skills you can develop to survive in today's fast-paced environment. The real secret here is breaking this big concept down into manageable, daily pieces. Across all 4 dimensions, emotional, cognitive, physical, and social, there are specific, evidence-backed micro-habits that you can implement immediately.
And honestly, the absolute best part about all of this? Every single one of these target habits takes less than 5 minutes a day to perform. No huge time commitment required. And the return on investment for those few minutes is just staggering. Taking mindful daily breaks increases an employee's ability to manage stress by an incredible 230%. Let that sink in. It also boosts your focus on work by 92%. It turns out that drawing a simple, clear boundary yields a massive, massive return on your investment.
So let's look at the exact mechanics of that emotional resilience habit, the 2-minute mindfulness reset. It goes like this. When you feel that overwhelming stress hit, stop. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold it for 2 counts, and now exhale for 6 counts. That specific breathing count isn't just relaxing, it literally physically breaks the body's fight-or-flight stress cycle. It lowers your cortisol and shifts your nervous system right back into a productive, solution-focused state.
For cognitive resilience, we use something called the cognitive reframing pause. When you face a frustrating workplace setback, just take 30 seconds. That's all it takes to ask yourself 3 things. Is my current interpretation really the only possible explanation? What would I tell a respected colleague if they were facing this exact same situation? And finally, what opportunity might actually exist here? It acts like a mental circuit breaker. This brief pause interrupts those automatic negative thoughts and builds real, lasting cognitive resilience over time.
Which brings us to Section 4, the habit stacking strategy.
Okay, so you have these great new micro-habits. How do we actually make them stick without having to rely on pure willpower? Well, enter this remarkably simple formula called habit stacking. It's just this. After an existing work habit, I will do my new work habit. It works by securely piggybacking your desired new behavior onto a routine you already do automatically every single day. For example, right after you check your morning voicemails, you write down your action items. Or right after you close out a really stressful Zoom meeting, you instantly do your 2-minute breathing reset.
But we do have to manage our expectations here. Science tells us that building a true, automatic new habit takes anywhere from 18 to 254 days, entirely depending on the person and how complex the habit is. That's a huge range. And that's exactly why planning for failure is absolutely crucial. You are going to slip up, you'll miss a day. The whole goal is self-compassion, making sure to celebrate your small milestones, and simply getting right back on track the next day rather than just beating yourself up and quitting.
To really reinforce these new behavioral loops, you need to track your progress visually. Automate your triggers wherever you can, get an accountability partner involved, and schedule brief weekly reviews. You can even use digital tools, like Slack Workflow Builder, for automated check-ins. Seriously, let the technology do the heavy lifting of nudging you towards your goals.
And finally, Section 5, the ethics of nudging. Now, as we've seen, choice architecture is incredibly powerful when we use it for our own personal goals. But zooming out for a second, as technology rapidly advances, we have to neutrally look at the broader implications here. This brings us to algorithmic nudging. This is the use of AI and machine learning to analyze highly personalized data and subtly alter individual choices at a massive scale. Tech platforms and even employers are now using vast data sets to guide our behavior in real time, very often without us even consciously realizing it's happening.
And this understandably raises some significant ethical considerations among scholars. First off, there's the potential loss of individual autonomy. We also see what they call dark nudges, things like fast food drive-thrus that are structurally designed to encourage overconsumption. Then there's something called partisan nudge bias. Research shows that people actually tend to view nudges as highly ethical when those nudges align with their own political beliefs, but they view those exact same mechanisms as completely unethical when they don't. It's a highly complex landscape of distributive justice and behavioral influence that's still being debated. Which brings us to our final thought for today. The environment around you is already built to nudge you, whether it's pushing you toward a purchase, a certain viewpoint, or just an endless social media scroll. So ask yourself, if you don't intentionally design your own choice architecture, who is designing it for you? Take control of your environment, engineer your own habits, and use these incredible tools to build the resilience and productivity you actually want before someone else makes the choice for you. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning and keep designing your success.